Welcome to today's video. Today we're focusing on solving systems of inequalities with practical problems. Again, we're going to show that mastery by scoring at least an 80% on an exit ticket in class tomorrow. Hopefully you have the note sheet in front of you. If you don't, take out a separate sheet of paper, and that way when you come to class tomorrow we can give you a fresh new one. Now, if you look at the note sheet, the big steps for real-world systems of inequalities is we want to make sure we highlight the important information, make sure we know what our variables are, write each inequality, which in this case is going to be 2 since we're doing a system. We want to choose our sign depending on what makes sense, and then sometimes we're going to graph and find the solution. Now, there is one typo on here, and I apologize that this was not said earlier. No more than should actually be under the less than or equal to sign. If you think of money, you can spend no more than $41. Well, I can spend $41, but I cannot spend anything more than that. So again, just draw an arrow, and that's my apologies. If we look at our first problem, we're going to start by highlighting what's important. Well, you can work a total of no more than 41 hours each week. You have 2 jobs. House cleaning pays $5 per hour, and your sales job pays $8 per hour. You need to earn at least $254 each week to pay your bills. Now, we want to write a system of inequalities to be able to solve this. Just like when we did systems of equations with practical problems, you want to keep like units together. If it's talking about money, you can't talk about hours you're working. If it's talking about hours, we're not going to say we earned so much money. So we're going to take $5 for housekeeping plus my $8 in my sales job, and I need to earn at least $254. Well, at least is telling me that I can earn that or I can earn more. So that's going to be greater than or equal to 254. Think of your bills. If you're paying at least the minimum, you can pay more than that. You just cannot pay less than it. Now, we can work no more than 41 hours. That means 41 hours is the greatest, or it is equal to that amount. So it's going to become house cleaning plus our sales job. Now, we don't know how many hours we're working, but that's why we just put our variables H and S. To start, we need to make sure all of our answers fit both of these inequalities. My suggestion for this first one, start with the second inequality. H plus S is less than or equal to 41. Start by adding your hours together. I work 20 hours in housekeeping and 22 hours in sales, which gives me a total of 42 hours. Well, is 42 less than or equal to 41? No, that doesn't work. So already, A is crossed off. B, we worked 15 hours in house cleaning and 16 in sales, gives me 31. Well, 31 is less than 41, so that works. 20 hours in house cleaning plus 21 in sales gives me a total of 41 hours. 41 is not less than 41, but it is equal, so that works. I have 10 hours in housekeeping and 21 in sales gives me a total of 31, which is less than or equal to 41. Now that we know which ones work for our second inequality, now we're going to go back and check the first one. So I'm going to start with letter B, and I'm going to say 5 times my housekeeping hours of 15 plus 8 times my sales hours of 16. Well, that's going to give me a total of $203. So the question is 203 greater than or equal to 254? Well, no, it's not. So B does not work. If we look at C, we're going to take 5 times my house cleaning hours, which is 20, plus 8 times my sales job, which is 21, and that gives me a total of 268. Well, is 268 greater than 254? Yes, so that is one solution. Now, the big thing with inequalities, as we've talked about before, there can be more than one answer, so we need to make sure we check all our points. So let's check D. I'm going to do 5 times my house cleaning, which is 10, plus 8 times my sales, which is 21, which gives us a total of 218. And since 218 is not greater than 254, no, it does not work. So the only answer for example 1 is letter D. Now, if we look at example 2, again, we're going to start by highlighting. Marcia is buying plants and soil for her garden. The soil cost $4 per bag, and the plants cost $10 each. She wants to buy at least 5 plants and can spend no more than $100. So let's start at the beginning. We know that it costs $4 for soil and $10 for plants. So we're going to add them together. We're spending no more than $100. So that means it's going to be less than or equal to. Now, if we look at this problem, it also tells us that she wants to buy at least 5 plants. So that means plants has to be greater than or equal to 5. Now, we're not going to add it to the soil because it doesn't say how much soil she definitely needs. So now we're going to check our inequalities. Again, it has to match both of them. So let's start with the second one. P has to be greater than or equal to 5. Well, if I look at my P values already, 4 is not greater than or equal to 5. So I'm going to cross off A. 5 is equal to 5, and then 7 and 6 are greater than. So now we have to check our first inequality. Again, make sure you're checking all your points. I'm going to start with letter B, and I'm going to take 4 times my bag of soil, which is 5, plus 10 times my plants, which is going to give us a total of 70. Well, is 70 less than or equal to 100? Well, yes, that works. So letter B is a possible solution. If I look at C, 4 times 8 bags of soil plus 10 times 7 plants gives me a total of 102. Is 102 less than or equal to 100? Well, no, 102 is greater. So that is not a solution. And letter D, 4 times the 9 bags of soil plus 10 times 6 plants. That gives me a total of 100. Well, is 100 less than or equal to 100? Yes, it's equal to. So since we did not go over that 100, D is also a possible solution. This is why we want to make sure we check all of our solutions. There can be more than one answer. Example 3. Mary babysits for $4 an hour. She also works as a tutor for $7 an hour. She is only allowed to work 13 hours per week, and she wants to make at least $65. So we're going to start with our dollars. She works $4 an hour for babysitting, plus $7 an hour for tutoring, and she wants to make at least $65. But she can only work both babysitting and tutoring for no more than 13 hours a week, so it's going to be less than or equal to. Again, I'm going to start with my second equation. It's just the easier of the two. So I'm going to start with 7 plus 5, which gives me 12. Well, that's less than 13, so that works. If I look at 3 plus 9, that's also equal to 12, so that still works. 2 plus 10 gives me 12, so that also works. And the last one, 6 plus 8, gives me 14. Well, 14 is not less than 13, so I can already cross off answer choice D. Now from here, we need to check our second inequality. So I'm going to start with point A. I earned $4 an hour babysitting for 5 hours, plus $7 an hour tutoring for 7 hours. That gives me a total of $69. Well, 69 is greater than 65, so choice A is a solution. If I plot B, we get 4 times my 9 hours plus 7 times my 3 hours. That gives me a total of $45. Well, 45 is not less than 65, so B is not a solution. We're going to check point C, $4 an hour, 10 hours of babysitting, plus $7 an hour for 2 hours of tutoring. That gives me a total of $54, but again, it's still not greater than 65, so no, C is not an answer as well. The only solution out of these 4 is letter A. Now, this does not mean that's the only solution, it's just the only one in our answer choices. Our final question. You can work at most 20 hours next week. You need to earn at least $92 to cover your weekly expenses. Your dog walking job pays $7.50 per hour, and your job as car wash attendant pays $6 per hour. So, let's write our inequality. I have earned $7.50 for dog walking, plus the $6 I earn as a car wash attendant, and I want to make at least $92 an hour, or $92 in total, excuse me. But I cannot work more than 20 hours, so it has to be less than or equal to 20. Again, we're going to start, I like to start with the second equation, or inequality, because it looks a little nicer. 8 plus 10 is equal to 18. Well, 18 is less than or equal to 20. 5 plus 7 is equal to 12, which is less than or equal to 20. 11 plus 10 is equal to 21. Well, that's not less than or equal to 20, so C does not work. And 4 plus 8 is equal to 12, which is less than or equal to 20. So now that we know those work, now let's go and check our second inequality. If we look at A, we have $7.50 times my $10, or 10 hours, plus $6 an hour times my 8 hours. That gives me a total of 123. Well, that is greater than 192, so A definitely works. If we look at B, we have $7.50 an hour times 7 hours, plus $6 an hour times 5 hours, which gives me a total of, sorry about the bell, $82.50, which is not greater than 92, so that does not work. And the last one we want to check is D. We have $7.50 an hour times my 8 hours plus $6 an hour times 4 hours, and that gives me a total of 84, which is also not greater than 92. So D does not work. Again, just because there's only one solution doesn't mean that's the only solution to the problem. It is just the only one out of our answer choices. Please bring your notes and any questions you have to class tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you then.